today I'm going to try to draw this cafe corner on Jeju Island, South Korea. And boy, oh boy, do we have redemption. And man, oh man, does it feel good. We are back at Cafe Dendri, this time inside. And maybe I came back, or maybe I just immediately walked inside yesterday in shame, deciding to redeem myself. But who's to say? I will never tell. Thankfully, there still weren't many people here, or this would have been way too exposed for me setting up my camera and tripod like this. It's something I've almost done a few times at some other places, but there's just always too many people. I couldn't do that to myself. I'm not nearly comfortable enough or shameless enough for that. Not yet, anyway. But here today, we have a practically empty cafe with a nice little corner for me to draw. My intention going into this, aside from the sweet, sweet second chance, was the combination of details and perspective. That's pretty much it. Oh, there goes someone. I wasn't worried at all about shading. I just wanted to give myself a break, whatever that means, and focus on just accurately getting some of these mildly complicated lines down. Mildly complicated for me, at least. I told myself at the beginning that none of it needed to be perfectly representative, like the rest of my drawings, of the real thing. Just that the essence of the scene would do just fine. Right now, I am absolutely winging the perspective. Going on instinct alone, doing nothing by the book, because I don't know what's in the book anyway. What book are we even talking about? Ironically enough, I do have a vague memory of learning 2-point perspective in school. And another person, God. And if I remember correctly, okay, bear with me. It's about finding your horizon, the line, your eye line, and then placing 2 dots on either side of the page on that line, and every horizontal line that you draw in the image gets measured via the opposite side's dot. But right now, I don't remember where the dot goes, or its significance, if there is any, to how close or far away the dots have to be from the center. I don't know how I would have used that technique for this also, because the dots would have had to have been pretty far off the page, right? It looks like that. I'm not sure. Adding that to my long list of things to learn, or in this case, relearn. I do know that all of the vertical lines will be straight up and down, since I'm perpendicular to them. It would be different if I was on the floor and they were, going up and away from me. I do know that. I don't know how to plot that out, but that's beside the point. But I'm hoping the walls just don't look too inaccurate by the end. Now that I have the basic structure of the corner laid out, I'm just gonna go right ahead and sketch in some of these objects. I'm using really light lines here, not really committing to anything just yet. And for this one, I'm actually okay with that, I think. I've watched a few videos of people sketching things like chairs, and they've started with these light general shapes, working up to more solidified ones. The internet is huge and full of information. It feels impossible to know what's right or wrong, or if there even is a right or wrong. Some people say your line should be strong and definitive and bold, and others say sketching loosely and finding the form is the right way to go. Maybe it's my own ignorance, and these people are both right. Maybe they're referencing disparate types of drawings requiring their own respective techniques, or maybe there is no right, and I should just do what feels right to me? Is it so subjective, though? I don't know. If I took a dozen different drawing courses, Would the instructors all echo the same teachings, or would they vary person to person? At this point, I feel okay with sketching out lightly in search of the right lines, because while they originally felt unconfident, like in previous videos, and sometimes still do, for sure. Don't get me wrong, that very much still happens. I do still feel unconfident when it comes to those lines sometimes, but here they mostly feel exploratory. For instance, I'm trying to ascertain roughly where these chairs should be and how they're shaped. So I don't really want to go in with bold lines straight away. But maybe that is actually because I'm not confident in my abilities. Maybe over time, the positioning of the chairs will be this undeniable fact in my head. Like, here they are, here they will sit. I know it before the pen even touches the paper. In that case, I understand getting right to it with those bold lines. In that case, I suppose having, all those wispy lines underneath, that would be a negative to the overall drawing. Maybe it would make it look unprofessional. I don't know. Something I'm noticing here is actually how fun it is to work out the shape of something like a chair. In fact, this whole drawing was filled with things that were exciting like that to work out, like little puzzles. I've said it before, but I should really dedicate more videos to drawing objects over scenes. I know I have a couple, like my terrible lantern, but I'd like to get in close at some point and like really close and focus on the specifics of a single thing. Again, like a chair. I need to figure out how to make that look interesting for you on the left side. I'd hate to make a video of just such a static image. At least this one has some trees in the distance moving. Okay, as you can see, and as mentioned, I've sketched in lightly that potted plant, or the pot at least, before I drew the chair closest to it. And I did that to avoid accidentally pushing the table and chairs too close to that back wall, which would have left me no room to place that pot. That got me thinking about, yes, the light lines, but also the order in which to draw things. I've spoken about that as well in a previous video, but that was about the entire scene rather than the specific small objects that sit right next to each other, like we have here. If I was to use those definitive lines that I won't shut up about, would I then also have to be fully confident of where the pot would sit without having sketched it? Or is there really nothing to consider when it comes to sketching because it's totally normal and fine? Am I overthinking this? Does all this stuff just come from experience, or am I making mistakes? I mean, I know I'm making mistakes, but will my mistakes be necessary stepping stones in a correct general direction, or are they leading me astray for a really long time? Forcing me eventually to backtrack and learn things I should have learned back then. And back then means right now, as you're watching it happen. I know that sounds a little neurotic, granted, but I also know the things in my life that I've spent a lot of time practicing. They have these offshoots that guide people away from where they ultimately want to go. And I think a lot of people get lost in those offshoots. Then they never want to turn back because of like sunk cost. They feel like they spent so much time. Learning this one way, delving deeper into their part of the proverbial forest, that retracing their steps to practically start over doesn't feel worth it. What's an example? Photography is probably a bad example because it's easy to constantly try new things and explore, but I'll use a different example. For a significant portion of my life, I was a musician. I started playing the guitar when I was 11 or 12. I spent very little time fumbling around before my parents got me lessons. And my teacher was this beach bum, happy go lucky kind of guy. And he knew exactly what I wanted out of guitar. And it's probably because it's exactly what he wanted out of guitar. But he would ask me to bring in my favorite songs and on CD, and we'd learn a riff or two in about 30 minutes, the time of the lesson. It gave me something to practice, something to play for my friends, and ultimately something to make me feel really fulfilled. I would guess that there really is no better way to get someone hooked than like that. Getting them going straight away, building up momentum really quickly, and just letting them fall in love before they even know what hits them. But I think this is the trap that I'm talking about. This is the wrong turn in the forest that gets people lost. Had I continued down that path, sort of a hedonistic approach to music, I wouldn't have become, or at least I don't think I would have become, a well-rounded musician. And that's what I wanted. Instead, I would have continued to amass a repertoire of riffs like everyone else around me, which is what I wanted in the very beginning. When I'm 11, 12 years old, that is what I want. But, not a few years into it. All this time, the truly talented kids, they were learning how best to play those riffs, how to build off of them, alternate ways of making similar or better sounds, and most importantly to me, they were writing their own or gaining the tools to write their own. From those lessons with my beach bum kind of guy, my teacher, I got a taste of how much fun I could have playing guitar, but from there, I was eager to learn everything else. I played classical guitar and learned theory in school. I wrote my own music with my brother at home and then eventually my friends in school. And before I even had a car, I was playing music in a band at clubs and bars on school nights. My reason for saying all of this is that I want a similar trajectory for drawing. Not exactly, because music was all-consuming. It was an obsession for at least 10 years. And also, I'm not going to school to study drawing. But I do want it to be something that I'm not flippant about. I've mentioned here that I want to be casually skilled at drawing, and that is true. But it's true in the same way I wanted to be skilled at guitar. Not in a lazy or indifferent kind of way, but in that I put in the work with guitar. I put in the work and had such a deep well of experience that I could play with confidence. I don't need to sound, I was no virtuoso, but I put in the work. I practice a lot. Ideally, right now, and with drawing, surely for the next few months, I will be in my riff learning stage. I'm building momentum. I'm finding the joy in the medium. Then, as things progress, I'm keen to, hopefully, the quote-unquote right and wrong paths through the forest. So in these videos, I know I've repeated myself a lot, and I'm sorry. That is just going to happen. Hopefully I progress over time. I've talked about that as well. There you go. It just happened again. But when I talk about, is this right or wrong? Should I be doing it this way or that way? I'm just making sure I'm staying curious. I want to be thoughtful of the process because I don't want to do this for 5 years or 10 years or even 1 year. I don't want to do this for 1 year and realize, looking back, that after just the first few months, I was getting complacent and at a year or 5 years or 10 years, I'm just too lost down that path to ever want to turn back. I don't want that to happen. So when I ask all these questions, I'm not doing so for the literal, is this the right way or wrong way? I'm doing it to make sure that my curiosity sticks with me. So yeah, I hope you like my drawing. I actually like it quite a bit. It reminds me of the doodles my mom would do while she was on the phone. It has a little whimsical thing about it. What do you think? Um, there really wasn't a lot for me to talk about with this drawing, especially in this video. It is over 15 minutes long, and you can see there's not enough there for me to sit and talk you through every line. So I hope you don't mind the tangential pieces of these videos. They will surely continue to be a part of them. But as I progress, I'm sure I'll have more to talk about. For now, though, I'm really glad you're here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.